Welcome to the Huddle House, your weekly special for all Huddle Buddies content. And I am still losing. That is the best way to start this week. That the streak continues of being absolutely horrible. But how's it going, guys? I know that there's some positive vibes and some negative vibes in this show tonight. So how you guys
Oh,
doing?
mine are very positive, Barnes. Thanks for asking.
They deserve to be. Your team has been crazy.
Yeah, we got
By
to
the
we
way,
got
this
to
is Carter Ferguson. It's
introduce
our
our.
guest.
There it is, Carter Ferguson, our esteemed guest for the hour.
We've been getting someone new every week, and we're running out of people. We might have to start getting into some repeats here in a couple weeks. But
Honestly, I'm a little surprised it took y'all this long to ask me on the show.
you weren't relevant enough. Now you
Wait, what? I
are.
was the loyal person that took over the bullpen in Ty's place while he was gone.
He
did
Living
a
life in New
good
Jersey.
job. You did a good job. None of these
Thank
guys know what the bullpen is, other than the Asbury guys. Like, there's like half the people in the league aren't going to know what we're even talking about.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but had to bring you on, Carter. Big win. It was a moving week. I feel like unbeaten's lost, and I think some of the power shifted a little bit. We have like a four-way tie for first place now, and you're one of those members. So a big week for you. Just tell us your thoughts after this week and where you stand now.
Man, dude, it was a little tough because last week Miles Gaskin put up a whopping 2 carries for 3 yards. So I was like, man, dude, I'm thinking about dropping him. Like, I don't know what his place on the Dolphins is going to be. So he was on my bench this week. And then I look up and he has like 26 points in like the third quarter. I'm like, what in the world? I mean, it kind of gives me confidence that I can play him in the future, but still, it kind of made me a little upset. But mostly my wide receivers have been carrying the load with Devontae Adams going off this week and then DJ Moore and Debo Samuel going off last week. So I'm pretty happy in those areas. And I think, man, the position that's like really holding me down is quarterback because I have Ryan Tannehill starting for me right now. And Derek Carr's kind of been on the decline as well. So, but I do have Deshaun Watson on my bench, just waiting for him to get on the roster.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a nice stash.
a nice ace in the hole there if something pans out. But yeah, I think even a guy you didn't mention who was amazing was Kadarius Toney and the development he's had the past couple weeks. That's kind of been surprising to me. Granted, it kind of came out of nobody else being healthy this past week, but that seems like he's got a lot of potential. He's electric.
Yeah, he did have a big game. I think he had 24 points before getting ejected for throwing a punch. So hopefully that doesn't continue in his play going forward. So
I will never understand the concept of throwing punches full steam at a guy with the helmet on. I still confuses me to this day. But I understand emotions run high, but it's like just throw a freaking shot to
yeah,
the body. You have a better shot of actually hurting them that way. But these guys, man, they just got to do the headshots.
Yeah, I don't know what all that was about. But
I
also
don't know.
something to mention with your team too is haven't had Gronk the past few weeks, and he was insane performer for you at the beginning of the season. So I think that that just bodes well once he gets back, and you can definitely tell the Bucks tight end Cameron Brate, whoever steps in, no connection exists with Brady like what does with Gronk. So they definitely miss him, and I think that having him back will strengthen your team even more. Although Dalton Schultz has been looking like the dude, so yeah, you got a really strong core here, bro.
Yeah, I think Gronk was the number one tight end going before his injury, and then Dalton Schultz. Like I think Marcus traded Schultz and like a second rounder for Tyler Higbee because Marcus was really desperate for a decent tight end, and Dalton Schultz goes off. So I kind of feel sorry for Marcus, but I'm kind of happy about it.
Yeah,
Hey,
it
Ty,
looked.
you haven't mentioned the blockbuster trade Carter had this week.
Oh yeah,
Massive implications. He traded away the phenomenal Juju Smith-Schuster for Quintez Cephas. Definitely a league winning trade there.
yeah, and both players have had season-ending injuries to both their shoulders. Not both their shoulders, but one of their shoulders to each person.
That's poetry right there. Man.
It's wild.
I think that what I want to know though is how you felt watching Hollywood Brown catch those touchdowns last night, knowing him for Juju, who turned into Cephas, who now is not even relevant this season.
Yeah, you can ask my roommate Evan, who's actually in the room with me right now. We were watching a little bit of the game last night, and like Marquise is just catching. He got 2 touchdowns last night. I'm like, man, I really gave this guy up for Juju, who like I don't even know how many points Juju's averaging right now. I just kind of just ignored him for like the last few weeks. But it's just it's painful. It's real painful.
Yeah.
But the person who I traded him to, I played this week and I beat. So
well, that's all that that means the trade was worth it, I guess. If you still
you can call it good juju, I guess.
Ah, there you go.
That was a really bad joke. I'm sorry.
That joke to me over text, or Mark Carter, so I don't like it.
I was almost going to ask about the Gaskin for James Robinson trade, because that looked like it was going to be a similar thing before Gaskin kind of exploded this week. But I was going to say, like, you've almost been on the wrong end of 2 trades like that. Do you have much hope for Gaskin moving forward, or how do you feel about that move? All things considered.
I think I was talking to Marcus about this earlier. I think it was Marcus earlier this week. I still view Gaskin as a better long-term option, especially with this past week, giving me a little bit more confidence. But Gaskin's still 23 years old, while you have Travis Etienne coming back from injury next year. I think him and James Robinson are going to be like sharing some of the load, some of the running load. Maybe Etienne more in the receiving portion, and then Robinson the running game. But I think Gaskin moving forward, I think Miami's gonna stick with him. And honestly, I feel pretty decent. I don't regret it completely, despite Robinson just going off the past few weeks. But I just gotta be patient and watch.
Yeah, and I mean, you never know who's going to be the coach of Jacksonville next year, because it's definitely not going to be Urban. So there's no.
Yeah, it's got to be someone better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to downgrade. It'd be hard to downgrade unless they pick up like Adam Gase or something like that. I mean,
no, I think everyone's done with him.
Yeah,
for the most part.
The weird thing about Gaskin is I was looking at his stat line, and he only had like 3 carries, but he had like 11 catches or 10 or 11 catches, like all of his the receiving game. But it wasn't like he was getting out like snapped as far as carries from Malcolm Brown. Like no one on the team really had carries. Like they were just throwing the whole game. They were behind, and they were just.
That's called getting beat 45-10 by the Buccaneers, like or 17, 45-17. You're not going to be running the ball.
I am just itching for Tua, at least in the short term, but hopefully begging for Deshaun Watson next year, because I thought Jalen Waddle might eat against that banged up Tampa secondary, and he didn't do anything. So like, it's kind of annoying to see Gaskin taking all of his work in the kind of like 10-yard route type game. Like I thought that would be Waddle's bread and butter, but he didn't do anything. So it's kind of frustrating.
I actually rejected a trade request from Mitri.
We know.
Yeah, for me, Jalen Waddle for Derek Carr, and I said no because I need a backup quarterback this year. There's literally no one like in free agency that I can pick up that's like decent. Like, and then I look back at that and I'm like, man. Yeah, Marcus has rushed me just multiple times for that.
Yeah, I felt like that one was a miss when I heard about that. But, hey, man, you're full.
I've had some bad moments, but.
I mean, it's working out. I mean, I can't say anything. I can't judge. My team's 0-5.
So listen to mine.
Rebuild.
Last night was like the Monday night miracle for everybody, and I almost had my own. I was down 19, and I had just Michael Pittman to play. And so I'm watching like the first 2 drives, and the dude's like not on the field at all. So I'm like, I'm not even going to frustrate myself and watch this. So I turn it off. I see that he catches like a 50-yard touchdown, like a crazy catch. And I'm like, don't do this. Like, don't do this to me. You're going to reel me back in and break my heart anyway. But I'm a sucker, so I tune back in. And after the touchdown, I'm down 4 points. And then he catches a 25-yard pass, and I'm down literally 1 point. And this is like early third quarter. So I watched the whole rest of this game just on the edge of my seat, begging just one catch. Like, I just need one catch for 6 yards, and I'm going to win. Doesn't come. And it goes to OT. So I watched third quarter, fourth quarter, all of overtime, looking for one thing to happen, and it doesn't happen. And that's just the most draining way to watch a game. I went to bed pissed. I was like disgusted and felt like I'd wasted so much time just looking for one thing, and it didn't happen. So I didn't get any of that Monday Night Magic, but I saw something on Twitter where a guy was down like 111 points, and he had Lamar, Mark Andrews, and I think Pittman, and he like came back and won the game. Like, could you imagine losing, being up 111 on Monday night?
How much did Lamar end up with?
Like 42.
Of course, Barnes knew off the top of his head. Didn't expect that.
You mentioned Coach Moore.
Yeah, I know you're gonna say something whenever your boy's mentioned. So,
Granted, I know what a lot of the quarterbacks in the league put up this week because I care more about fantasy than you.
yeah. I know what everyone put up.
Sean Watson put up 0.0. There you go. I got that
Thank
one
you.
right.
Thank you. Yeah, check his status every week.
The most brutal part of the night, though, despite watching the whole loss, was 10 seconds after the game ended, getting a call from Matt, and the first thing he says is, "That was a tough loss for you." It's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
That was
He probably wouldn't have called you if Lamar had lost.
The universe was correcting itself after Ty's 1 point week, like that he won like a couple weeks ago. It was like, I'm not going to let this guy do it twice in a row.
I guess
The universe needed balance.
But
So
I really appreciated the phone call and the reminder that it was a tough loss, because I wouldn't have known. Yeah.
I think you really know why I was calling Ty. I mean, it was a dramatic win for my team. I needed someone to send the positive vibes to.
Yeah.
Hey, I thank you, Ty, because if you didn't answer, you probably would have called me, Mitri, Marcus, Lucas. Probably went down the line and see who would have picked up first.
It was a fun night for me. It was miserable the first, like, obviously the first 3 quarters. I was like dead quiet, just like, this sucks. And then it just got so much better. I mean, at that point my fantasy team was done. There was no Monday Night Miracle for me. I would have needed Jonathan Taylor to put up like 70 and he put up 30. I mean, he was really good, but he made it look more respectable. But I mean, my night was over in regards to that, so I didn't really care. I wanted to see Taylor look good, but I didn't really care what he put up. It didn't make a difference. But I just wanted the Ravens to pull it out, and so when they did, it was just definitely a good feeling.
That's some promise, though. Taylor put up, what, 30 or close to 30?
Yeah, he put up 30. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, that shows a lot of promise, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, he put up 15 week 1, and then he had back-to-back horrible weeks, and then the last week he put up 19, and this week he put up 30. So I mean, he's really only had 2 bad games, and that was against the Rams and the Titans when it was just a really bad game script where they got down by a lot and stopped running the ball altogether. I think Nyheim Hines vultured a touchdown that week. So he just had a couple bad game scripts in there, but every other week he's been what I picked him to be. So I'm not worried about Jonathan Taylor. There's frustrations regarding to snap count and Marlon Mack and Hines, getting work, but what owner doesn't have to deal with that? I mean, Chubb has to deal with that with Hunt, and Jacobs has to deal with that with, Drake and Richard and all them. So, I mean, most running backs have, other than a few like Derrick Henry and stuff, most running backs have other guys that get in and take some workload. So it's just part of the game. As long as he's getting 6-7 yards of carry like he was yesterday with every time he touches the ball, it's still going to work out.
I've got a question for the group. If I tell you I'm starting Taylor Heineke at quarterback next week, what's your initial reaction?
It's like an easy 16 points, honestly, to me.
Easy 16.
I mean,
they let him air out, man. They let him play.
Yeah. Like, he's not horrible. He's not a great player by any means, but he can make some throws, and they're going to be likely down. I mean, the Chiefs have just lost some bad losses, in a pretty short succession. I think it's even at home, so I think I could definitely see some rage play from Mahomes of just like, I'm going to tear this team up. So they're probably going to be down for most of the game, forcing Heineke to throw deep and stuff like that. So could be a good game script.
Well, and the Chiefs' defense is they're like soft butter, man. Everybody's cutting through them. So I just think that given the circumstances of not having Russ, I don't know if he's a long-term answer, but I think I can at least get away with him for 1 week, and maybe he'll run in a touchdown or create some magic. But I think that's my option, man. Either that or Carson Wentz, and I'm not too interested in ever seeing Carson Wentz in my lineup.
So you have Russ, Carson Wentz, and Taylor Heineke. Gonna go with Taylor?
I drafted Carson. I picked up Taylor off waivers a few weeks ago, and
Oh,
I just don't. I feel like he could give me more points than Wentz could. I think Wentz may have the better floor, but I think Heineke has a much higher ceiling. Because I think that was the best game Wentz could have ever played last night, and he put up 22 points. And I mean, he was like on fire for most of the game. It seemed like. So I don't know.
yeah.
Heineke could get up there to 25 if he really lets it fly, and we'll see what happens. I don't know.
The Colts confuse me, man. I don't know what's with them this year.
They looked good yesterday. I mean, granted, the Ravens looked really bad for most of the game, but I got to credit the Colts for some of it. Like, they looked pretty good. Just think, they've had some tough matchups, but they've also just kind of came out sluggish. I think they still have a good roster. They're very banged up on their O-line. That's definitely hurt them, but their schedule's about to get a lot easier. I looked at it. I think they play like the Jags, the Jets, the Texans, I think in 3 of the next 4 games. So I think they maybe play like maybe Chicago 1 week, which isn't, not an easy team to beat, but definitely beatable. So they can definitely steer the ship, and they're in such a weak division that, I mean, they're only 2 games back. So, I mean, they can beat the Titans in a couple weeks. That's 1 loss on the Titans, 1 win for them. So then they're only 1 game back. So they're definitely not out of the playoff hunt, even at 1-4.
I agree. I think Michael Pittman, the eruption of his play is just really important for them, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to be this good, this fast. I mean, it's his only 2nd year, right?
Yeah.
So that's big. They just need Carson to cut down the turnovers. He just gets really reckless, man.
I kind
Goes off script a lot.
I kind of envy the fact that Ty took a 2nd-year receiver in Pittman. You took two rookies in Tony and Moore, and those guys are outperforming the Jalen Waddles and Laviska Shenaults on my team that I took with more draft capital. It's kind of frustrating, but that's how it goes. Well, actually, I think you took Pittman before I took Shenault, but
I took Pittman 1 pick after you took Michael Thomas.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I could have had Pittman, but I don't regret the pick at all, unless Thomas comes out and looks horrible. But I'm very hopeful.
Yeah, during the back half of the draft, during the final few rounds, I just picked like rookies whose names I heard a lot in college, like Kadarius Toney. I heard from Florida. I picked up Larry Roundtree from Missouri. I was like, oh, I know these guys' names. I know that they can play. They can probably get some playing time sometime soon.
It's working out for you.
Yeah.
Your rookies have looked good.
Yeah, I took Rondale Moore in the 9th round.
Yeah, that's a
I
great.
really want him. Yeah.
Great
I started him at the flex this past week. I think he got me like 12. I
don't think I took Rondale Moore in a single mock ever, and I probably did about 70 of them. I don't know why. He's one of the guys I didn't really do much research or homework on. I didn't really know much about him. I just saw his name and just kind of that initial gut, like, I don't think he's going to be much type of feeling kept hitting me, so I just kept passing up on him. So he wasn't the only guy I was eyeing, and now I kind of regret it.
Well, I did see my high school. I think it was my senior year of high school. They came to my high school and they played us. And I saw a punt return that he had against our team. He broke like 9 guys on the way to a touchdown, obviously. And I was just like, man, that is going to be something special. And I think I watched a game that he played at Purdue whenever they beat Ohio State with, I think Dwayne Haskins was the quarterback. I was like, golly, man. And then he sat out last year. I was like, this dude's gonna be nice. It just depends on the team he goes to. I think Arizona's a good place for him.
Yeah, 100%. You got to think about it in the future. I mean, I think Christian Kirk's in a contract year. Like, they might not bring him back, so it could just be up and up. AJ Green's probably not around another year, so like that receiver room could be getting slashed up a little bit too this offseason, and he's still going to be around to even maybe take on a bigger role. So the fact he's doing this much this soon, definitely bodes well for his development.
Yeah.
Is Tony a guy you consider starting in the next week or two with literally their entire team out pretty much?
Man, dude, I don't know. I'm not sure. He might, yeah, he might. But I think I'm gonna leave Moore in the lineup.
Well,
See,
you have to.
I don't know who to put in my other flex spot. I could put Gaskin in as starting running back, RB2, and put Damian on the bench, and then put Tony because Debo has a bye week. So
Start Cephas.
oh yeah, projected 0.
I think you should start whenever you play me, I think the recommended lineup would be to play Deshaun Watson, Larry Roundtree, Quintus Cephas. I think that'd be really nice. Rob
I wouldn't
Gronkowski.
be surprised if I still beat you, Barnes.
Yeah, you'll probably get like 42 from Devontae Adams, like you get in every single game.
Yeah, the group chat be blowing up with you being like, "Oh my gosh, of course Larry Roundtree goes out for 30 against me."
Dude, I've been right every time I've said that. Okay, I mean, I know it's not like Khalil Herbert went crazy, but he still got like 17 carries and had like, I don't know, 9 or 10. Like, that's way better than Khalil Herbert would do any other game. But like, he plays me, has a pretty good outing, and like the first game he's even ran the ball in hardly ever. So, I mean, it never fails, man. Cordero Patterson, Kareem Hunt. I thought it'd be Darrell Williams this year, or this week, but he didn't play him, so it ended up being Khalil Herbert. But it is what it is. It's not like he put up an astronomical number on me, so I mean, there's no excuses. I didn't play good. I wouldn't be beating anybody this week, so other than James, but
We're going to address just the ungodly week Jake's team had.
we don't have to talk about it. I'm sure he's talked about it enough.
I was thinking about going there though, because I don't know if I've ever seen a number that high in any fantasy league, let alone a 14-team deep roster.
Half PPR. Like half PPR too. It's crazy.
True. Yeah, I mean 197. Sheesh, dude.
He had like a top 3 performer at every single position this week, pretty much.
Other than tight end.
Yeah, TJ Hawkinson didn't do very well.
Hawkinson, but like, yeah, that was it. But like, he had a good performance from his defense. His kicker did good. Obviously, Antonio Brown went crazy. Tom Brady went crazy. Austin Eckler went crazy. Kareem Hunt went crazy. It was just like unbelievable.
If I could go back, I would take Eckler over Dalvin Cook. I would take him at 2. Easy.
Really?
Yeah.
I
would take Najee Harris or Jonathan Taylor probably.
What's Dalvin done for me? I drafted Alexander Madison. I didn't draft Dalvin. Alexander Madison's given me better weeks than Dalvin has. Dalvin's injured all the time. You never know if he's going to play, if he's going to get a full workload. And then whenever he doesn't play, they give Madison like 25 carries, like he's Dalvin. So I mean, I pretty much drafted Alexander Madison number 2 overall, at least right now. I'm sure that will change, but I don't know how. I mean, Eckler, that offense is so good. He catches so many passes. I mean,
well, and also the concern with Eckler going into the draft, which I think everybody was talking about, is that like he didn't get very many goal line touches in previous years just because of like the type of runner he is and his frame and stuff like that. That a lot of times they're going to go to a bigger, kind of more bruiser back if they're at the 1 or 2 yard line. But this year, he's getting all the goal line touches. So like the one concern people had with him is no longer a concern. Plus, like the ridiculous amount of pass catches he gets every week. He's like McCaffrey-esque, just getting 7-8 catches every single week, getting 60, 70 yards through the air, plus getting 15 to 20 carries. It's just like that workload with that offensive line, the way like Rashawn Slater's playing his rookie season and that O-line they built in the offseason, like they're protecting him, they're run blocking, and he's just hitting big holes and getting so many chunk plays that it's just unreal. I would take him too if he was there for me at 3, looking back at it, because he's only 26. It's not like he's old. I think that's the steal of the draft.
It's one other.
Yeah, definitely.
And he got Robert Woods performing really well. I mean, Robert Woods finally had a good week.
His team has no weaknesses right now. But, I mean, the only thing is, I mean, the way he's playing, like, I mean, there's nothing stopping him from putting up 130 a week, but I'd have to imagine 197 is going to be a season high. So there's really nowhere to go but down from there. I mean.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that won't happen again this year. I would highly doubt.
Probably not. And hopefully it's me if it does.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should show some love to Marcus. Got off the skid with a big 145-point performance.
He left me in the dust. I was rooting for him as a friend, but as a fantasy football player, part of me kind of wanted someone else there to sulk with in the winless club. Now it's just me.
Yeah, but he had Lamar, who, as Matt noted, had 42, and then
Yeah.
Gibson finally found the end zone a couple times, and Jefferson's just been really good all year long, and he got Cortland Sutton in the end zone too. Just a really good week for him, and I think this is kind of what his team is capable of. Like there was a lot of good performances, but this isn't their peak. But I think where they had been performing is also, I think they're somewhere in the middle there. So I could see them being a 120 point a week team. I think that they've just been underperforming to this point. So I'm interested to see if the ship will even out for him, because I imagine it will.
Yeah. I remember Marcus texting me earlier this week. He was like, I think it was like Sunday. He said, hot take. If Ty offered me Dalvin for Justin, I would say no.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if that's that hot a take. Like Dalvin's not playing. I mean, Justin's giving him way more consistent points. And I mean, I don't think I'd do that just because the running back depth, obviously, but I get what he's saying. Like Justin's a studly player. He's got a long-term future. Wide receivers just hold up better than running backs in general. It's a longer career. So it's not crazy to say that, I don't think.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
man.
in our league, like even as a 12-team league last year, it was really hard to get a good running back stable. But now when you add two teams to that, and I think a lot of teams kind of have more focused backfields as far as like who they're sort of going with and stuff like that. I mean, it's really hard to have more than two good running backs on your team. And if you trade away one of them, then like you better be getting some good solid running back in return. If you don't, you're gonna be starting a backup running back in your RB2 slot. So like it's very hard. Like having three good running backs is definitely an asset in this league because it's hard to find two, in my opinion.
Let's bounce over to Brandon and not Brandon, Austin and Caleb's game, because this one was also an unbeaten falling. Caleb falls in his first loss to 4-1, and Austin gets a big one to 3-2. I mean, the numbers on his team, I'm looking at them right now. Super interesting, the spread here. So we had 43 from Herbert, 21 from Najee Harris, and then like a patch of just nothing, like 2 from Chase Edmonds, a goose egg from Elijah Moore.
And you got a negative from the Dolphins defense.
He had like essentially 3 goose eggs in his lineup, but he still hung 153 because Mark Andrews had 36. And then Chuba Hubbard, AJ Dillon combined for 30. That's kind of crazy too. He's getting this production from backup running backs, essentially. And then Chase Edmonds, who's in a timeshare, but has been really good this year. It's just the AJ Dillon one I'm especially surprised about, that he put up that many points. It was the Bengals. I forget. I guess I did watch that game.
The Dillon one is kind of perplexing because you would definitely think with how good Aaron Jones has been the last few years that he'd be like a heavy workhorse. And like he's still obviously getting good usage, but Dillon is cementing more and more of an identity in that offense, and they are finding places to use him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just seem like it's the Aaron Jones show. Like Dillon has a role. And I'm sure it's frustrating for Aaron Jones owners, similar to how I get annoyed whenever Nyheim Hines gets a big play. It's just like, dude, go away. Like, we don't want you. Or JD McKissick for Marcus with Antonio Gibson. Like, these guys have just lived to steal efficiency and workload from the guys we actually care about. So,
and I think what we see from Caleb's team here is it's just kind of a case of like, as the Chiefs go, he goes. And I mean, they didn't have their best game. Mahomes still put up 18 points, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire got hurt, only gave him 3. I think, he really tied himself to that team and to the Buccaneers, and it's paid off for him this far, but I guess you kind of see the effects of whenever they lose a game or have a down week. Causes a loss there, which I don't know if he'd have topped 153 regardless, really. That's hard to beat, but just in general.
Well, in Caleb's team, one thing that's going to be kind of tough for him is obviously he lost Clyde Edwards-Helaire to IR, but then he also has a healthy Lockett, but a Russell Wilson that's probably going to be out for potentially the remainder of the year. And I'm not saying that I mean, Geno looked good in the plays he had, but you still definitely have question marks there on if Lockett will be the same guy without Russell Wilson throwing him the football. It's kind of hard to imagine. So that's another thing he kind of has to worry about. But
Are the Seahawks giving Blake Bortles a workout?
Yes. Please.
Oh my gosh.
dude, Traegner would pick him up minute one. He'd probably put his entire fab on him. He'd be like, give me Blake Bortles, even if it's only for a few weeks.
That's
Wait,
interesting. What?
did he drop Bortles? Or does he still have him on his team? I know he drafted him.
I'm pretty sure he dropped him.
I'm
Okay.
looking right now. Yeah, he doesn't have them.
Okay. Well, he'd definitely get him back if they announced that Blake Bortles was the starter.
Let's flash forward here in our last few minutes just to take a look at week 6 and what we got coming up. I'll read off some of the matchups. If anything jumps out, we can talk about it. I play James. Marcus plays Mitri. Matt, you play Traegner. Lucas plays Jordan. Carter, you got Brandon. Jake and Caleb. That's a good one. 2 4-1s. And then Austin and Jeremy. Anything? Anywhere we want to go with this slate for next week?
Have fun dealing with Jamar Chase, Carter. He was fun for me to play against this week. Probably about a guaranteed 2 touchdowns coming against you.
This week, Brandon. Who are they playing this week? Bengals.
We play the Lions.
Yeah, so Jamar Chase about to get about 200 yards.
Oh my gosh.
A favorable matchup.
Oh my gosh.
Favorable matchup.
I'm gonna need one of my guys just go dumb. Yeah, like you put him head to head. I got DJ Moore going up against Jamar, so hopefully DJ Moore has a bounce back week against Minnesota.
And Devontae Adams might be able to even out some of the workload there if he puts up a really good game. I mean, he's really the only receiver Rodgers has eyes for on that team, so he gets the first.
Chicago has a decent secondary, but Devontae Adams has proven he can kind of eat against anybody.
That doesn't matter.
So, I mean, there's not a week where you're like, oh, I'm actually worried about Devontae. I might not start him. There's no week that's ever going to happen. He could be playing against Jalen Ramsey, and yeah, he might be a little bit more limited, but like you're still starting Devontae Adams. It's not like there's any benching probability. So it's you just play him, and he's normally going to be good most of the weeks. I had him a few years ago, and man, it's so fun having Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
zone every
he'll
single.
at least be in the double digits in targets. At least.
A bad
Sometimes
Devontae Adams week is like 12. It's like 12 points, like a bad Devontae Adams week. 90% of the time, it's gonna be like 15, 16 or more. Like he's such an animal.
Sure. He had 11 receptions for 201 yards and a touchdown this past week. So
they were beating our defense 2 on 11, essentially. It was like every play was Devontae, like I've never seen before.
Golly, man. I feel sorry for the Bengals. That one got away from them.
That loss. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like nobody wanted to win it. I mean, it had so many chances to.
I mean, like that game kind of deserved
that close from 4-1 though. That just bites.
Oh, it bites bad, man. 4-1 and 3-2 are such a different tune. Like 4-1, it's like maybe we can compete in the division, and 3-2 is kind of like it just feels tougher. It just feels tougher knowing the.
Yeah, at this point, like after the game, I'm just like, they're probably still a year away. Like just a year away.
Yeah, but I will say I'm very encouraged. Like I think we have a lot of the right players, and it's just going to be a matter of finishing those games. But the fact to be in a position to do that, I haven't seen competitive football like that in 5 or 6 years. So that's exciting, at least.
You need to get on your boy Zach Taylor, Ty, for freaking activating Mixon only to give Pete Ryan like 75% of the snaps. Thank goodness for a touchdown for Mixon, or he would have gotten me like 4 points.
Thank goodness for a touchdown, or you'd have lost by 40 points instead of 30, right, or whatever it was.
Thank goodness that my running backs actually are getting into the end zone now. If only my 97 rookie wide receivers could actually catch a pass.
Yeah.
or if George Kittle can stay on his feet for
Yeah,
more
that's
than
what
4 games a
you
season.
do not want to be playing CJ Uzomah as your tight end. I guarantee you he scores 3 points or less.
I mean, it's either him or Ryan Griffin, Ty. What the heck am I supposed to do? I don't have any assets that I really want to trade. I'm at a point where I have like 9 wide receivers, and they're all like decent enough to not throw away for a 2-week rental at tight end. So like I have to hold on to them. So it's like I have nothing to trade but like 3rd-round picks and fab. So it's like I'm not going to put up serious like draft capital for a 2-week rental at tight end because I'm never going to bench George Kittle. So like I don't have a choice. It's like the waivers are horrible at tight end. Ryan Griffin sucks. So it's like Uzama was cheap and he at least has some sort of touchdown upside against the Lions. So I'm like, gotta roll with it.
That's true. I guess that's true.
Must be real tough, Barnes.
Not something I want to do, Ty. It's something I have to do. What are you saying, Carter?
I said it must be real tough.
Oh yeah,
Feel sorry for you.
Fantasy's freaking miserable, man. But you know, I have DFS, and just the fact that I get to watch football every Sunday, even if it's not fun seeing the fantasy cast, it's fun looking up and seeing guys get into the end zone. So I still enjoy my Sundays. Hopefully, I get on the right track this week. I have a lot of really good matchups. I'm on the lucky side of things when it comes to buys because I have like none this week, and Traechner has like 2 or 3. So he doesn't have Kyle Pitts this week. I think he doesn't have his defense or his kicker, and he has one of his guys I think is injured. So like he's got some things to work through as far as his lineup. So I'm not saying I can't find a way to lose it because I can definitely find a way to lose it. But I think if I'm going to win any week, this is the week I kind of got to do it because, like I said, I have a lot of good matchups. Mixon against the Lions, Taylor against the Texans, Devontae Smith against the Buccaneers, horrible secondary. So, like, I got all sorts of favorable matchups straight down the board. The Rams are playing against the, I don't know, someone really horrible as far as my defense. Like, they're playing against a team that, I don't know, might be like the Jags or it's someone bad. I don't know. Maybe the Jets. But, like, it's a good matchup there. So, this is the week I kind of have to win. If I lose this week, then all hopes are kind of lost.
Well, hopefully good things are coming your way and we can record this next week with you in good spirits. We'll throw a little party for you whenever you first win.
Please do.
It'll
be very celebrated. I could literally put up 100 and win, have a bad week and win, and I'd just be like, it's a win. Like, I'll take it. Now, if I could put up 130 and do it, that's even better. But I'll take it.
I think that about wraps us up, though, boys. We're almost out of time, so we're going to have to call it here.
All righty.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, boys.
See, Ferg, thank you for joining us, my brother. Pleasure seeing you again.
Always a pleasure. Not for Ty, not for you, Barnes.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you whatever week we see each other, and hopefully my team will be better by then, and I can pull the upset.
I'm sure. All right.
I'll never let you hear the end of it if I do, so you got some pressure.
Right. We do have an ongoing $10 bet, Barnes. Remember that.
I know, I'm gonna owe you $10. I don't think you're gonna finish in the bottom half of the league, but we'll see.
We'll talk next week. See you, boys.
See you guys.